Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog Series. It's Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, and on Tuesdays we talk about music and the arts. And this week, through the series, we're covering the issue of flowers from a number of different angles and perspectives. So over the last several million years, flowering plants have thrived on the Earth's surface, and we've actually identified over 400,000 different species covering the planet, producing blooms of different shapes and colors, which are competing with one another, obviously, for the affections of the butterflies and the bees and humans as well. Some argue that humans have developed their preferences for flowers because they're an indicator of their proximity to fruit or foodstuffs. Others suggest that the blossoms, in some senses, contain an objective beauty that attracts human beings in terms of their harmonious colors, their soft curves, and their symmetrical forms. But regardless of whether we're driven by nutrition or aesthetics or something else, people have long imbued flowers with personal, cultural, and religious significance. And this shines through in all kinds of different art forms and music as well. So, for example, flowers have inspired paintings from Van Gogh's Still Life with Irises to Georgia O'Keeffe's Black Iris, to Monet's Water Lily series, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, and to a personal fave of mine, Mary Cassatt's Lilacs in a Window from the late 19th century. I don't remember the exact year. And then flowers are, of course, are created through all kinds of fabrics, with floral designs in much of our clothing and our ties, and of course decorating many of the features of our homes, from carpets to the paintings, some of the paintings we hang on our walls, to real life flowers, of course, as well. I can't think of a time when I've brought home flowers for my wife or my mother-in-law or anyone else, and the first reaction hasn't been a smile of some kind or another. So, in fact, if you give flowers to almost anybody, that's almost invariably the first thing that you'll see, a broad smile on their faces. And then a lot of people enjoy painting flowers, working with the medium, different media, and producing artwork of various kinds. I have two sisters-in-law on my wife, from my wife, and she's both of them are painters. They're artists in their own rights, and they've done some wonderful paintings in this regard, in different medium, different types of painting, and so on. And then I also have through my wife and through her relatives, I have a cousin, shall we say, Suzanne Nadimi, who has done a lot of this kind of artwork as well. And this is one of her pieces that she gifted us. And even I'll get to another example in a moment, but I have some other pieces as well that I unfortunately don't have readily handy or available. That I'd love to show you that my sisters-in-law have painted. But just in general, I should mention too that Iran is well known in terms of its historical and artistic linkages to flowers and botanical gardens, to the broadest cross-section of arts and crafts and so on. And not to mention, of course, their contributions to science and mathematics and so on. But one place in particular, if you ever have a chance to visit Iran, and I haven't, by the way, but you should really visit Esfahan. It's in central Iran, and it's just one of these. It's kind of like an arts and crafts capital of the world. In fact, there's a phrase in Farsi, Esfahan Nesfe Jahan, which sort of means that if you visit Esfahan, you've seen half the world. So yeah, a little bit conceited in that regard, but yeah, it's so rich in terms of its cultural traditions and its artwork and so on. Okay, and then with music, of course, there have been countless songs that have been written about or inspired by flowers as well, showing up, of course, in many very well-known songs, dating back to, for example, the well-known Pete Seeger classic, the folk protest song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? I remember learning that in grade school, up to including Poison's Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Not one of my favorites, but nonetheless, that was a big hit in the 1980s. And so I'm not going to do a top 10 list which I've done in the past with some of my musical vlogs on certain themes. But instead, I'd like to share just some of my favorite lesser known songs that deal with the themes of flowers, or that it's incorporated in important and symbolic ways typically. And these are sort of hidden gems, if you will, that I'd like to recommend. And before I do that, I should even give out a shameless self-plug for my own album, which let me see if I can get this without the... But you'll notice there that I intentionally then have set this photo in the woods, and so you see the greenery there. And you might also see the leaf by the Dr. J experience as well. So that has some special meaning, which I'm not going to get into today as such. But again, it just shows you that even though I don't deal with themes of the flowers per se in the songs on that particular record, you can see that plant life and nature encompasses the broader sort of messaging that I do try to share. Okay, so again, I'm not going to do a top 10 list. Instead, I want to just share 5 songs that I sort of call hidden gems, that if you're listening to the Dr. J blog series, you'll probably appreciate the aesthetics, the lyrics, and the melodies of these 5 particular songs that you don't hear all that often on the radio. Again, some of these you probably do know. So I'll start it with number 5. I'll recommend my old friend Sting's Desert Rose. And by the way, I'll leave links to each of these 5 songs in the description below, so you can have a look and listen to the music videos and so on. So it's actually not that obscure a song, really, because it actually went to number 2 in Canada. It went to number 17 in the United States. But it's not typically the first song that one thinks of if you're thinking about Sting's solo work. But it is, however, a song that blends Sting's signature style and sound with a more kind of Eastern influence, or what Sting himself describes as an arabesque sound. And of course, the Algerian singer Cheb Rabah sings on the tune as well. And Sting said of the song the following: "I don't do world music or reggae, I do whatever I do. But it's true that Desert Rose has a definite Arabic, North African flavor." And then the song's backing track came from Sting and his band as they were simply jamming in the studio, going through different ideas, which Sting eventually described then in terms of the song Desert Rose. He describes what came together as, quote, "a song about longing, a kind of Sufi," that's from Islam, "a Sufi idea. Romantic love is an analog for the greater love of God," end quote. Okay, so that's number 5. Number 4, I'll recommend Tom Petty's Wildflowers. This is a song that I've incorporated into my own sets when I play live. It's a definitely kind of a stripped down, simple song where Petty's essentially singing about the breakup of his marriage and the transition that both of them had to go through, the acceptance and so on. And it's mainly, the song itself on the recorded version that I've heard at least, and then I'm going to share the link below with, it's just basically Tom Petty singing and playing his acoustic guitar. I think there's a piano. There's a little bit of other backing, but not much. And in a 2014 interview, Petty said the following of the song, quote, "I just took a deep breath and it came out, the whole song. Stream of consciousness, words, music, chords, finished it. I mean, I just played it into a tape recorder and I played the whole song and I never played it again. And then I'd come back a few days later and play the tape and thinking there must be something wrong here because this just came too easy. And then I realized that there's probably nothing wrong at all." So that's the version that I've included here in the link below. All right, and then at number 3, with a totally different vibe and different theme, I want to recommend Radiohead's Lotus Flower. The video itself is really cool. It's mainly Tom York's dancing, but it's really quite artistic in the way that it's done. In my view, and it's basically a song about the purity of our actual selves, our actual souls, and then that awakening and the blossoming of the true selves that eventually emerge from us as we grow out of childhood into whoever we become. And then in the video as well, and in the song, I guess it all depends. It's open to interpretation, but it's also about the sort of getting lost in the moment, being free to express yourself in whatever sort of way that feels true to yourself, I think that's an important theme. And I guess it's perhaps if we could all sort of maintain that connectedness to our authentic version of ourselves, uh, that would be a beautiful thing. We'd be able to express ourselves. And, and again, as I said, when you watch the video, it's as much about just being, one with the moment, getting, going with the flow, and so on. So if you have a few minutes at some point, definitely click on the video below and go with the flow and just see how you feel after you watch this particular one, especially if you're not familiar with Radiohead's work, or if you haven't seen this video in particular. Okay, now at number 2, I want to ask you to check out Jeff Buckley's and Elizabeth Fraser's co-written song, All Flowers in Time Bend Toward the Sun. It's just, to my ear, it's just a hauntingly beautiful duet. It's a little bit chaotic. It's not quite as smooth and clean as some songs that you can hear. It's almost uncertain at times, that you get that sort of feeling, reflecting the complexity and the layers of two people. It's a duet, and they're deeply connected to one another. And yet still there's these inklings of doubt or an uncertainty and almost kind of a personal insecurity that we all have to deal with. I mean, again, that's my take. There's the idea that, almost, again, I'm reading into this, that yes, you can love one another deeply, but we still can't always be absolutely certain that the other loves us back or quite the same. And we kind of need that reassurance. And then I think that's what the lovers are trying to provide to one another through their song. But again, you could hear it differently. Listen, I have the link below there. But here's just some of the lyrics, FYI. My eyes are a baptism. Oh, I infuse and sing her into my thoughts. Oh, phantom, elusive thing. Oh, all flowers in time bend towards the sun. But I know you say that there's no one for you, but here is one. All flowers in time bend toward the sun. I know you say there's no one for you, but here is one, but here is one. Okay, and then finally, my number 1 song on this little mini list that I'll recommend is by Mazzy Star, and it's titled Flowers in December. And it's in some ways, it's kind of the bookend of the previous song, the Jeff Buckley and Elizabeth Fraser song, because the message clearly, I think it's pretty straightforward, and maybe I'm missing something here. But to me, it clearly it kind of reflects this classic unrequited love situation, the situation where someone loves one another, shall we say, or as they say in the song, has their heart stolen away by someone else, but the other person doesn't necessarily love them back, right? And so Hope, the singer from Mazzy Star, Hope Sandoval, she sings just so sweetly in this particular tune, co-written by the Mazzy Star founder, the late David Roebuck, and includes the following lyrics. I mean, again, in part. Send me your flowers of your December. Send me your dreams of your candy wine. I got just one thing I can't give you, just one more thing of mine. So again, anyway, check it out when you have some time, and hopefully you'll be inspired. You'll find it hauntingly beautiful, as I have over the years. And in the meantime, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs as often as you can. And I hope to see you tomorrow.